Well, good
Oh.
to watch. Da da da.
Dun.
Or something like that.
Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, everyone. Rewind. I wasn't on mute.
That was evident.
Really?
Yes. It became apparent really rather quickly.
Sorry, everyone. Moog's here. And then there were 4.
7? Well, according to the thing, there's 7. And 4 in the chat. It looks like it's a quiet one. Well. Ooh.
You're just knocking me about and everything. Oh. Moog is in the house.
Get the candlelight.
Yeah, it's intimate. It's an intimate affair.
I'm with you now.
Yeah,
with you
very intimate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we do need to get to know everybody a little bit more, don't we? So there we go. What have you done with the other lobster?
It fell off and...
Oh, no. I'm going to have to get the lobster. Can you not reach the lobster?
I mean, I can go for another lobster.
No.
Specifically that lobster, yeah?
Yeah, that sparkling one on the floor there.
All right. Hang on.
Wait a minute. I can lean... Oh, I can't lean over. Not while Paul's leaning over. Otherwise, if anyone tunes in and he's leaning over and I'm leaning over... No. Here we go. Lobster slinging over his shoulder.
This one.
Lobster gate. See if you can get them all on.
This one is not as straightforward to keep on. It's not very... It's not very heavy. It's not got the weight of this one. Big Bad Pizza. Big Bad Pizza Gaming. Hello, Paul and Crimson. When is the next Paul Fest? I honestly don't know, to be quite honest, because we don't organise the Paul Fest. They are organised by the community. So it's there's a Paul Fest thread in the Discord, and it gets discussed there. And I just get told,
we can't wait for the next one. We're looking forward to it very, very much, but we just don't know when it is.
Just get told when and where to roll up.
I think it's Mick and Moog, like the double act, or Moog and Mick. Mick and Moog, they're generally right up there. Moog, anything in and it's a low one. We're gonna have, you know what's gonna happen, don't you? We're gonna have a rainbow baby lobster at this rate, because you are encouraging them to get friendly. Here we go. Oh, is it Mick? It's on Mick's fault. I thought you were doing picture. Moog, screenshot that quick, because I don't know how to do it.
He's already done it, I'm sure. If I don't miss my mark. And lobster pile off.
Sorry, Moog. I thought you were involved with it a little bit as well. I mean, I don't mind arranging it if Mick's busy or you're busy, Moog, or whoever's busy. I don't mind arranging one, but because we always have a good laugh at those as well.
I'm stacking my lobsters.
Are you coming on Sunday? Is anyone coming on Sunday for a game at Sanctuary Games, is it? I think it's Sanctuary Games. Is anybody coming to that? No, yes, no.
No, I think that's a relatively small crowd.
Moog. I think Moog is.
I don't think Moog is. I think Moog can't make it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know you're going to be there, Wolfcog, because you are the arranger. Oh, right.
There's a picture of the lobster stack going up on Discord. Just
Moog. Oh, here we go. Mix in the house. Have you forgot that you're on? Dear me.
Oh, hello.
Hello, everyone.
So, we're only 5.5 minutes in. It's absolutely fine. We're all good. We're all good. We're all good. So, what is this thing that is the thing? That light's awfully bright. It's not my whitest face. My face is white, like a ghost.
I thought you liked a white face.
What are we doing? So yes, roundup of the week. Yeah, I'm leaving that well then. Roundup of the week, ramble of today's subject, and then Q&A, which will be accrued by my glamorous assistant, whose shoulder you can see. It's right there.
Got a wiggle on.
Which he's wiggling for effect. So, what has happened in Hobbyland for over this last week? Well, something moderately significant has happened. I picked up a paintbrush on Sunday, which I haven't. Was it Sunday?
Yes, it was.
What day did we spend frozen to death by the road?
It was Sunday.
Saturday.
Saturday we did that. Well, Saturday you did that.
Right. Okay. And I've lost my thread.
I just wanted to say what we were talking about you, Mick, when you joined us. So, because we were wondering when the next Paul Fest was, and I said it was your fault, and you got to not your fault, but you were normally the one that arranges it. Oh, to be confirmed. To be confirmed. Meg. Later in the year. Oh.
So, did some painting on Sunday. I have had a batch of Cities of Sigmar kicking around for kicking around for a little while. They're necessary for one of my games in early February. My brain's gone all to pot.
You were saying what you did on Sunday. You picked up your paintbrush.
I did. I picked up my paintbrush, and despite the fact I like it, but I persevered. I got those done, and they've been on my pad, so to speak, for quite a while, and I've not picked up the brush much over the course of January, so I got those done, which was good. Also, then I had to make some decisions about what I was going to pick up next, and I've started blocking in some Gloomspite because they're a thing that is up and coming. So I and my because I only have a small putting some paint to brush to plastic, on some of those. Also been building some stuff. I have assembled some liberators for my Astral Templars and some prosecutors for my Astral Templars, plus a couple of knights. I want to say Knight Vexilor. No, not Knight Vexilor. The two flying knights. The one with the bow, who is a vanguard officer, and the one with the lantern and hitty stick, who is a regular chain bore warrior character, hero, officer. That's the word, heroic officer. And that's been mostly my thing that I have hobby done this week. How about yourself, Crimson? Have you done anything hobby-wise?
Do you know what? I'm embarrassed to say I'm losing my mojo a little bit. I am. And I don't know why. Because I've got lots to do. But, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find it on Sunday. But I am like a little bit flat with it.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
And that's a segue into tonight's ramble subject. So in Discord, we've had a ramble subject suggested by Secondborn. And he's put, I don't know if this has been done already or worth its own topic, but hobby motivation. How do you do it? What are your tricks to keep plodding along against the tide of grey? How do you get yourself back on the grind after a slump? And it's an interesting one, because I tend to find that hobby motivation varies, and obviously I can only speak from my personal experience. But if we sort of go back in time 12 months or 18 months and think about what I was doing and the scenario, I was gaming a lot. I was recording a lot of battle reports for the channel. I was doing in the region of 6 a month. We have a super chat from Traveling Tortoise. Do something new. I have Cadia stands built and primed, but painting Horus Heresy Blood Angels based on Duncan's guide. Yeah, that's the thing.
Traveling Tortoise, I love that. I love that. Yeah, and thank you a couple, for a couple of comments, because it's not that I don't enjoy it, it's not that I don't like it. I got right excited when I saw the thing on Sunday, and I was like, oh, we need to go. But yeah, I do, I have done. Need to get it back.
Well, this is the thing, and this is the subject of tonight's ramble. So yeah, where I was playing a lot of games and doing a lot of painting of minis for those specific games, and I was under a huge amount of pressure, self-imposed, and that is one of the things that has always been a great motivator for me. And it's true of a lot of things I've done in life, not just Warhammer. It's urgency is a thing. If I've got a long time to do something, I will not prioritize it over other things that I could do in the short term. So since so I find myself in a different situation to where I was a little while ago, because now I am playing far fewer games because I'm filming fewer games. And a number of them I am filming other people play the games. So I don't have this close proximity of I have a game next week, I have to get stuff ready for it. So over the course of the last, until this weekend, it was from pre-Christmas, I found myself like early on in the day, I'd be sort of, I'm gonna get into the painting room, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And that's I'm going to be motivated. Then going through the day, I'm like, yep, still going to do that, and then get to the end of the working day and think, where's the TV? And then just sit and collapse in front of the TV and. Are very, very difficult to actually without any urgency or any particular strong reason to do it. I've ended up with very little drive to get some stuff done. But the Cities of Sigmar are due in a game in a couple of weeks, so I've had a bit of a motivation to get those done, and I've got those done. Trying to force yourself to hobby, I have never found effective. That has only ever put me off more, because what I tend to find is if I'm forcing myself. We have a super chat. And you know what? It's a yellow super chat. I'm going to wear a yellow lobster whilst I read it out. At Crimson, don't force Hobby Mojo. It will come back when it's ready. I've had loads of times when I just can't be asked to do any form of hobby, as have we all. It's all part of the hobby. Lol.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because it does feel a bit, especially when we do this on a Tuesday as well, because I still love doing this. But, when we come to what we've done, I sort of thought this week, oh gosh, I've lost my mojo a little bit.
Sorry, well, this is the first time it's happening for you.
It is the first time.
It happens to the rest of us a lot.
Yeah, it's like we feel a bit lost.
And I always personally find if I try and force my way through it, it's worse. Because then I will sit at the desk and I will stare at them and I'll pick them up and I'll paint like the bit on one of them, then I'll paint the bit on the next one, and then I'll check my phone or I'll listen to the book a little bit more or glance at the telly or whatever it is I'm doing. Then I'll come back and I'll paint a little bit on another one and then put it down, and I will procrastinate at the desk, and I will find that I have spent a number of hours not achieving anything. Oh, that's a different one.
I identify with that one. That traveling tortoises one, as well.
So, do you want to read it out then?
No, you can do it. It's fine.
Okay. Find something you're excited to do. Focusing on anything too long, you will get bored and eventually. And I will eventually take. You can see it right there.
Oh yeah, I don't always look at you there.
She's got the laptop. Anyway, too long, you'll get bored and eventually take the dog for a walk if you have a dog. Yeah. I find switching between projects keeps me going. Yeah, that's the thing. It's recognizing, I think, when to say, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like it tonight. I don't feel like it at the moment. I'm not going to sit and try and make myself do it, because that will actually put me off it more. And that's what it does to me. If I try and force my way through something I don't want to do, I really don't get the I don't. So this is why
really nice. Thank you.
We've said this.
I've got all this great stuff. I've got all this great stuff, and what I should probably do, sort of putting everybody's comments into one, is I should probably just get it all out and have a look and see if there's anything that I fancy doing that isn't what I'm doing, what I was doing at the time, maybe.
Yeah, that's one possibility. But for people who are listening, do you want to? Well, you did kind of say it, didn't you?
Yeah. No, I'm painting. I was painting rats. I'm painting rats, aren't I? Skaven. I'm painting Skaven. And I just suddenly, all of a sudden, just sort of lost my way a little bit with that.
You were doing those just for practice and confidence building,
I was doing those for practice, but I just put a load of the grots together, and there was 100. There was 100 of those. So I did that, and then I've got the Skaven, and yeah, maybe I should just have a ferret through, because I've got some great stuff. So maybe I should just have a ferret through.
Well, we've said a number of times on the channel, follow
Moog, no. He's a devil, he is.
What's he saying?
You
might have to start reading some of these out as we're drawing attention to them. Moog says, many cultists, all the cultists.
No, he says you should start Horus Heresy.
So, I'm going to try and say this for the third time.
No, ferreting. Oh dear.
Okay,
yeah. But seriously, thank you. That's gives me some ideas. But I know you want to carry on talking about it, so I'm going to shut up.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But if we're going to have a bit of a chat about it, we need to have some of the context from the thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
A lot of people will be listening to this and not reading the chat. You see.
Yeah, there's a member's sarcastic monkey member one.
Okay, sarcastic monkey member for 4 months. From a personal experience, having your work in progress models stare at you all the time is not the way to keep the hobby mojo.
Yeah,
that's very true. Very true.
I think from everybody's comments just then, I think that's what's led me to think that this might be it. So,
if you're fed up with something, clear it off your desk. Pack it away neatly and tidily and safely. You will come back to it, but don't have it staring at you like the guiltiest guilt thing from Guiltsville, Guiltsylvania.
Yeah, Mick's pointing at it. Yes, yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I need a project manager. I am a project manager. That's my job. Yeah, go on, do you want to read some of those? Go on.
No, that's your job.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'll read some out. Wolf Corgi saying a lot of paint jobs projects have a hump in the middle where you are putting in time but not getting results. I try and recognize when this is the issue and not lack of mojo and push through. Sarcastic monkey. Unfortunately, they're always staring at me because I have no place to store them. Otherwise, currently, put a cardboard in front of them, or turn their faces round so they're not looking at you. Mick the Machine says, so are the lobsters now colour coordinated with the super chats? We're trying something tonight. We're trying something a bit new,
we're giving the lobsters an airing. That's what we're doing. They've not been out for a while.
It was pre-Christmas. They had quite a run out, but that's the first one they'd really had for quite a long time. So we're just giving them some airtime, giving them some lobster love today.
Robert says, I normally put a blob of paint on the palette and batch paint so many models until it runs out.
And I think part of that
on,
Oh,
sorry,
oh no! Sorry, I thought
No, go on.
that was it.
No, that's the general gist of it. Yeah.
Traveling Tortoise again. Hello, Traveling Tortoise. Crimson, get yourself some Space Marines. Get up on painting and feel good about what you've done. I think I can paint, and I wouldn't want to do all those rat faces.
I know. Yeah. Ah, okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with a hump. Nothing. Moog says nothing wrong with a hump in the middle of a project at Wolf Gorge in the right setting.
So the way I tend to, part of it is right. I'm going to try it for the 5th time now. I'm going to try and say a thing.
I'll shush.
Okay. No, you don't need to shush. Just pause temporarily. So one of the things we've said in the past is one of the things I've said a number of times is I'm following my muse. And a lot of the time when I say I don't know what to do, you'll tell me, follow your muse.
Yeah.
And if you want to do something and you're motivated to do it, you will get much more done on it than doggedly sticking to something you're not interested in. Now, that can lead to extremes. It can mean it can lead to one model painted out of 10 armies, and then you lose interest and go on to another project. It all depends on. You need to find what works for you is a big part of it. And I know what works for me is batch painting. I want to be able to put my brain in standby mode and run on autopilot. So I get out all the paints I'm going to need and the order in which I'm going to need them. And then I just work through a batch. I started doing this last night with some Gloomspite Gits. I laid out the 8 or 10 paints I needed, lined them all up, and started with faces. Just went, go. And I got through all the skin and like 3 of the hoods in like an hour and a half. And then when I go back to the desk, not tonight, not tomorrow night, but probably Thursday night, I'll pick up and start going through the hoods again. I've had a bit of a. Normally, of late, I've listened to audiobooks, but I have switched to. I'm getting a little dry with the audiobooks just at the minute, so I'm having a bit of a break. Same principle, bit of a break, and I've been watching Archer on Netflix. I've been chaining Archer, which is good. So I can listen to that and glance up at it, but then still cloaky. And that is probably how I will spend Thursday evening as well.
Mick says batches of around 40. That's a good idea.
Now I would imagine that is some people's idea of hell. That is a very large batch. I think, Mick, I imagine, sir, you are unusual in your desire for large batches. That said, there are 40 Gloomspite Gits that I'm currently batch painting. But a large batch is tough because you've got so many. It takes hours just to get through, go round on one color. You think if it takes 2 minutes to paint a color on a model, then it's going to take you 80 minutes just to do one of the pots. So that is a tough challenge. The biggest batch I ever did, going back a lot of years now, is I did a single batch of 100 zombies for Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And I started it on the Friday evening and I finished it on Sunday evening. That was a long batch. And I vowed at the end of it, never again. I haven't tried a batch that big since. That was definitely pushing the envelope. And that envelope was not only pushed, it was also sent to the shredder. how do you get yourself back onto the grind after a slump? I find I need to leave it to come back naturally. I have to want, I have to want to do it. If I just have had a significant break from the hobby because of YouTube, but back in the day, and we all switched between our group, and sometimes we even played computer games instead. It was often quite a while before going back to something I had left. The enthusiasm's got to be there. The enthusiasm has to be there, otherwise it is absolutely a grind, and then it ceases to be fun. And then, when you get to that stage, what's the point? And that was part of the rationale I had for going back to leaning back from trying to grow the channel as a potential source of income to go full time, because it was getting to the place where it was a grind, it was a bind, something rind, lots of other ironed words, and same principle. I'm sure I have more than this.
It might be a nice idea to have a painting day or get together and do some painting. Don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Warhammer World or something.
Oh God, I don't know.
I don't know.
Hobby days. Are they a thing?
Hobby days, yeah.
Guys, comment in the chat. Is that something you do, or what are your experiences of getting together with people to do hobby stuff? I can see Moog's asking, do they let you paint at Warhammer? I know they used to. They used to have a number of hobby stations that you could just roll up.
Table now, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Okay. Oh, traveling tortoise again. Goodness me, sir. Or madam. No need to apologise.
Crimson.
Well, thank you very much for the sentiment.
He's been looking for a good PA for a long time.
And no need to apologise. Thank you very much, sir.
You don't get a lot done. Do you know that is real? That is really true. So hobby days make it fun, but you don't get a lot done. No, because you know what I'd be doing? Just wandering around and talking to everybody. This is the thing. I would.
Completely agree.
I would. Walking around and Mick knows this and Moog. They're probably the two that know this the most. I'd be walking around going, do you want a drink? Do you want a bun? Do you want a cake?
And then you go, I'll cook. And then
I'll make us some food.
3 hours later, you're like, oh, I should probably look at my models, really. So, Sarcastic Monkey has super chatted. I may have to hold it. I may have to hold the lobster. What does get me motivated is spotting a new box I want. Got to deal with the wife that I'm only allowed new boxes when I finish one, not counting limited ones. She keeps them until she sees results. Well, it's whatever works, isn't it? I knew someone who had a 1-in, 1-out system, and that helped motivate them. It's an interesting concept. I guess it also depends what kind of hobby you are, whether you're like me and you're just into everything, or whether you're more selective and you have fewer projects on the go. Speaking of which, that's probably a good segue into the question from last week that didn't get answered. That Hill asked.
What was that one? Which one?
The one about the count of armies.
Oh yeah, the count of armies. We said we'd do it. I think there was Hill. There was also, I know Mick was asking as well, and we said we'd count them.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah, Kev sampled the cake as well, aren't you, Kev? Yeah.
Amazing cake.
We've got love hearts tonight. We've got love hearts.
Oh, they are brownie cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
Oh, my pancreas is screaming. So the army count. Now, there are two answers to this. And that a while ago on the chat, someone asked me how someone asked me how many armies I had, because it comes up periodically. And there are two answers. Well, there are scores. Hang on, did I miss a super chat? No. Sorry, we did it. There are potentially scores of permutations of answers to this, but I'm going to broadly categorize it as two. So, depending on how you count the armies, 45, 69 armies, depending, dude. And that, what depends on whether or not they're different armies is, for example, 40k orcs. I have an amount of orcs for all 6 clans. Is that 1 army? Is that 6 armies? Is it 7 armies? Because actually the mix is theoretically a different one to the other. So is that, I have 10 Chaos Legion armies. Technically, they all come out of Chaos Space Marines. Well, okay, Thousand Suns are different, and excuse me, and Death Guard are different. But notionally, they all come out of one book. Are they one, or are they many? Equally, AOS, I've got 3 Storm Hosts. Admittedly, not all of these armies are built and painted. Some of these exist only in cellophane. But 3 Storm Hosts. They're all out of one book, 1 army, 3 armies. We have a membership gubbins. I'm going to say the Red Lobsters for memberships is from Mick the Machine.
Mick the Machine.
Question posted in Discord for members re the next Porfest. Exciting times. Exciting times.
Is there a date? For it? I forgot my phone.
Look, I'll have a look. Porfest. Mick has put, okay, so I'm said to people who would like another Porfest arranging, so I have a number of questions first.
Yeah.
If people would like the usual venue, please vote with this emoji. If people would like a new venue, please vote with that emoji. If people want the normal get-together format, then please vote with this emoji. If people want a themed day, please vote with this emoji. Brackets, please note this will lead to further questions as I have an idea in mind.
Yay. Fantastic.
So if you're a channel member and you want to input onto the idea of a Porfest,
I'm so excited. And if you're not a channel member and you want to be in on Porfest, then become a channel member.
And go into the Discord and talk in the Porfest thread. No date yet. Just not booking. Just want some ideas from members.
Join. Yes, move. Join the madness. Come and see the madness in the flesh. In it. That's enough of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So armies, yeah. Then again, there are other permutations which are more interesting. I say more interesting, but then you're like, Drakari are a good one. That entire book is designed around the notion that you take multiple cults, cabals, and covens as one army, and it's merely a subdivision to form the one army. So I have a small cult, a small cabal, and a small coven. Is that 3 armies? You can field them separately. Is that 1 army because they can all be done together, or is it 4 armies because you can have all of them, or 1-1-1? So what would you count that as? So there you go. I can't remember who. I think it was Hill was asking about it. So that's the count between 45 and so. For example, I've also I think it was the Shadow Throne a while back had like 3 Custodes units in it. Does that count as me having an army? I've counted it, but should I have counted that?
Aaron says that I'm waiting to spend time on his painting because his hobby muse is leaning towards building models. Again, well, it's like what we say, isn't it? Do what you feel you want to do.
I imagine most of us have an army that we can play with, even if it's for small games. And that being the case, you can still play irrespective of what you're spending your hobby time doing.
Absolutely.
If hobby time is wanting you to build things, I think it was about a year ago, I decided I was going to build all the Stormcast Eternals I had. And it used I actually had a period of about 6 weeks off work, and I could have done any project during that period, but I really enjoyed just building these Stormcast Eternals and didn't paint any of them, and just that was it. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed spending my time that way. It was incredibly relaxing and therapeutic, and it felt good. So it doesn't give me a little, I think, dopamine. That's the right word. Didn't give me a little dopamine hit of something being ticked off the list and done. But you know what? So what? Enjoyed it. It was fun. It's a hobby. Hobbies are for fun. Yes. What do I do now, boss?
We got any more Discord questions?
Okay. Let's have a look at Discord. Live stream topics going up a little bit. Okay, so the first one was it was from Hill. Wasn't answered. What's the army count up to? Will be the first question next week. Aaron says, "Do Alexas go to Silicon Heaven?" Of course. They sit there on clouds playing little harps. Where else would they go? Mint the Machine, what content creators would you like to work with in the future? Wow. Okay. I would like to work with Mr. Winters and Mr. Sultan of Sultan Plays, because I have done collaborations with them before, and they are a great deal of fun. So I would want to do more of that. I'm also really enjoying the stuff we're doing at the moment with a bunch of the channel regulars who are also content creators. Clash of Dice, Smooth Little Figures, March of War, all those guys. I'm enjoying that a lot. I don't anymore spend a lot of time watching other content on YouTube. Yellow time. Sarcastic Monkey again. Thank you very much, sir. Or madam, I assume, sir. I lose interest in painting after I get the base colours down. The next deep shading and highlights seems like overkill to me. Is it fine to stop there? Do you know what? I've just painted a whole number of units, and the way I have put the base colours down, and then I have painted a shade over them, and there I have stopped. I've just done a load of Cities of Sigmar, Free Guild troops, Flagellants. Even before that, my sons are Flagellants.
All right.
Even before that, my son's a Bayomat. Whilst I did do a bit more work on the skin, the rest of the model was all base colors and then shades over the top. I very, very, very rarely do anything much in the way of highlighting. If I do, it is very superficial or on specific things. So, for instance, on all of those free guild I just mentioned, I did. So the face was painted in Cadian, then they were inked in Agrax, and then there was the smallest of highlight. By smallest, I don't mean fine, I just mean incidental. I did the Cadian down the nose and across the cheekbones. Some of the hats had feathers in. I did a dry brush across the feather just to make that. And I did a tiny dry brush with silver on the tips of the weapons and the gun barrels. That's all I did on top of the all the base colors. That amount of highlighting took an hour for 30 models. Really not a lot at all. And the models pop and they look good. Those giants, I did a teensy bit of highlighting on the edges of the cloth. I just ran the blade, the brush with the original color along the edge just to draw it out a little bit. These, I see a lot of guides where big sections are layered up and layered up and layered up and then individually highlighted and so on. And do you know what? When I'm looking at the model at arm's length on the table, I cannot tell. And do my ones, as basic as they are, look good at that distance? Yeah, they do. So I am happy with that because I don't use them as ornaments. I use them as playing pieces. The only thing I do a little differently is purely because of my YouTube-ness, in that I sometimes have to take still pictures which are close up. I sometimes do a bit more work on the characters and the heroes and some of the key models because I want them to pop a bit more on the camera. But that's the only reason I do it, because from a distance you can't tell. You just can't tell, and they look cool. We always used to say, back in Garage Warlords, back in the day, we used to say faces and bases. Highlight your faces and make sure your base is well-based, well-decorated, and clean. And that makes the rest of the model, you sort of notice that, and the rest of the model sort of fades a bit more into the background. So, yeah, 100%, absolutely. Just shading, base colors. Well, I see you're saying about just base colors. Base colors are fine. I get a lot, but when I say shading, I don't mean like here's the green. Now I'm going to carefully shade it with green. Here's the blue. Now I'm going to carefully shade it with blue. Here's the face. I'm going to carefully shade it with Reichland. I mean, I get the model. I get the Agrax. Just paint over the whole thing. Quick check for pooling. Dab, dab, dab. Done. Next. I find that makes a huge difference. But base colors, it's when you have them on the tabletop, models that are base painted look good. They look good formed together in units, next to scenery, doing stuff. Whatever level you want to paint them to, always, anything can look good. So do you need to do lots of clever shading and highlights? No.
Just want to read a comment out that's really earlier on in the chat that says it's sanguinary guard. I always have problems with that.
Sanguinary guard.
Guard, yeah. So he says, wait a minute. If this is a cult and the internet tells me that technically there is no difference between a religion and a cult, are we worshipping Paul and Crimson? I love that. So funny. No one's ever worshipped me before.
I think we all know the answer to that.
That's so funny. That is so good. Just made me smile. Okay. Next.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was. So yeah, content creators. So I don't watch a huge content to pick up on which I would like to collaborate with. I'm always open to stuff, but you don't know what you don't know. So I don't know really. There aren't any that I used to watch from back in the day that I think, yeah, I really want to get together and do something with them because I've done that. I guess I did watching Grim but they don't do guests. It's just the two stuff and glorious tables and glorious armies.
Of course, if you want to watch painting and you want to learn lots of new things, we know someone who does a painting channel.
So we've got. So yeah, well, there's a few. Yeah, there are a few.
We only care about Moog.
Yeah, Moog, Mr. Moog's Little Figures. Moog does live streaming every Wednesday. He calls Watching Paint Dry, and he it's pretty sedate, but it's all really good stuff in terms of techniques and things. Moog drastically underestimates his own ability because his models look amazing, and he always say they don't.
They do.
So go and check out Moog's Little Figures. If you want to see loads of his really cool models, check out his Instagram page. He puts loads on there, and they all absolutely pop. Yeah.
Very, very good. In fact, don't put one of yours next to his. Or one of mine, anyway, next to his. Okay, Robert says that, Robert Lowe says that a recent tournament that he went to had a 4-colour minimum for the 10 points.
So
there's no rush to perfectly finish everything.
No, events for as long as I can remember have always had a minimum painting standard. I remember I went to a narrative event back in, I want to say 2007.
4 colours, yeah.
And it was 3 colours and a textured base was the requirement. And some people just had the model block painted in one colour, and then they picked out the gun and picked out a couple of other things. And do you know what? That was 1,000% better than bare plastic. And you could still get immersed in the game. So just with really basic stuff makes such a massive difference to playing. So don't be at all... Don't be paint shamed. Yeah. Don't be paint shamed. All minis are beautiful if they've been painted. It's only naked minis where there is shame. Shame. But even not, hey, it's your game. If you want to play, it is all of our games. If you want to play with unpainted minis, you play with unpainted minis. I tend to find that people who like playing or are happy to play with unpainted minis and the narrative crowd, which tends to be the people who are attracted to my channel more, they tend not to mix because narratively, the grey plastic just is it's narratively very jarring. So, although I did have a regret with my Primaris Marines when I realised rather than painting the Fulminators, what I should have done for narrative purposes is painted them all grey and had them as Gilliman's Legion, where they could all be anything, and he was just his way of getting around the Astartes chapter size. Mr. Trick there could have, should have, would have done that. Okay, right. What does it say on here? Okay. Mitten Machine also asked, how do Space Marines retrieve drop pods and get them back up to their battle barge? Tech Marines do it. So there are versions of Thunderhawks that are not combat craft. Well, no, they're back in the day. You used to be able to buy 2 different Thunderhawks from Forge War. The traditional Thunderhawk that can take 30 Marines and has big gun on it, and then there's the other Thunderhawk that was could transport 2 Rhinos that were underslung, as it were. They've always described from what I can remember, the recovery process as a post-battle thing, where Tech Marines with, I assumed, the transport Thunderhawks, but in all likelihood, it's probably non-combat transport craft that don't get much of a mention. They recover, refit, and reuse because they have long periods of time, potentially in the warp between campaigns. They also have more than they need on the battle barge, so it's almost like renovating used suits of armor. I guess it depends very much on the context, because recovering them takes time. It requires a war zone that has been defeated, and it also requires that the chapter isn't immediately called off elsewhere. But a lot of that, if you look at some of the older codices, when they talk about the armory, they sort of say things like, a Master of the Forge, 30 Tech Marines or whatever, and 5,000 servitors. So there's a lot of flesh power there, flesh and oil power there to do that and achieve that. So maybe that's something they follow along in their wake and recover them, even whilst the battle's going on, and it's a more servitor-oriented activity. I
was stuck to the radiator.
Right.
I was stuck to the radiator.
Sorry.
My sleeve was stuck.
Just to clarify, the radiator isn't on. Her flesh has not melded to a hot radiator.
No. Do you want to just read the comment from Scott? I was just eating my bun.
Which one?
So, would you ever strip?
Oh, would you ever strip and repurpose a whole army into a new army?
Yes.
That one. Would do, have done.
Has done.
Have done. The
smell is horrendous. Just saying. Smell is horrendous.
Smells like a urinal.
Yeah, smell would kill lots of people. Yeah.
So I tend not to do it much these days, because so where I have done it in the past is in 5th edition, what I like to refer to as Bland Edition. The Chaos Space Marine Codex was, narratively speaking, absolutely god awful. They basically dismembered and destroyed all of the legions. And so I reached the conclusion, narratively speaking, I could not make that book play any of those legions, so I parked them. I thought, well, I want to play Chaos Marines because I love Chaos Marines. So I did a homebrew chapter based on the rules in that book, and I had a lot of fun with them. They were called the Sand Reavers. The scheme was a sort of sandstone type effect, but worn back to the bare metal, like it had been painted up in a sort of light brown, but then exposed to high velocity sand, and the painter sort of wanted. They looked all right. They didn't look great. They looked all right. And I painted all the tassels green because cacti. It's like, yeah, okay. Looking back, not the most, not the most cogent connection I've ever made. But when they then moved back to 6th edition and they fixed all the legions, or to an extent they fixed the legions, they were just obsolete. They'd had their day, and I repurposed them all because there wasn't an army. Now I could play real Space Marine legions again. I didn't have any interest in playing those. So some of them are still in bags next to the Chaos Marine Legion that they're now a part of, ready to go into dip. but it depends because they've changed the model range. But that means for the ones that I've got that are on the older model range, they're more valuable because they'll match. So yeah, I would strip an entire army, and I have stripped an entire army. I was given 2 Eldar armies by different friends when they gave up playing 40k or gave up playing Eldar. I stripped both of those. Are you just laughing at the word strip?
No. No. Laughing at Moog.
Moog and his nipple tassels.
I've seen Moog's nipple tassel.
Careful now. Then Secondborn's question about. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just reading Mick's question there. Has Winters ever given you an Eldar army?
No, I think in Winter speak, Eldar army is an STD. So no, Winter has never given me an Eldar army
or an STD
or an STD that I know of.
Although.
Now, a lot of Winters' thing with the Eldar is that he's not an elf guy, but what he does do is he knows their lore well. He is a sponge for the 40k narrative, whether it's bits of it that he particularly enjoys playing. But the thing he does like about Eldar is they really do help him get in character as Space Marines, and so he can just hammer Xenos scum into the ground. He loves playing against them because then he can kill them. A lot of it's tongue-in-cheek. Some of it isn't. So then we have the question from Secondborn about the hobby motivation that we've kind of talked about. If there is anything else hobby motivation wise, please do poke with stick. Sanguinary Guard has asked, how can I get out of work to go to Sanctuary Gaming? Well, I guess that
fake
depends.
An illness, sickness and diarrhea. That's the ultimate.
I guess it depends on whether or not on what you do for a living, whether you get paid for when you work, i.e. whether you get sick pay, and whether or not you still want to have a job at the end of it. The options vary depending on the answers to those questions.
Sickness and diarrhea.
All right,
lots of diarrhea.
Another quick. Can you stop saying diarrhea?
It's better than saying diarrhea is a good word, but you can't spell it.
I can't. I know it's got O's and H's and I's and A's in it, and yeah.
Oh, don't do it then. Oh,
sad times.
I know.
Okay, so and they see this stream.
Oh no!
Well, you've shot yourself in the foot there, haven't you?
No sickness and diarrhea here. Who said diarrhea?
Will you stop saying the D word? I don't want to hear about it.
Okay.
I don't want to hear about it.
All right.
Okay, and then another one. You know the phrase, give infinite monkeys infinite typewriters and at least one would write a masterpiece. Do you think that would apply to painting to Golden Demon standards? If so, then can I start throwing paint at my models? I think the principle there is infinite. And yes, the infinite monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters does also apply to painting Golden Demon style models. But it's only because it's infinite, because the probability is so astronomically low. We're talking billions, trillions to one against. The only chance that it would ever realistically occur is if the number of times you tried it was infinite, that being the key. So yes, I completely agree. Tins of dipping wash, yes or no, from Mick the Machine? I have never tried them. I have never tried them. So I'm really not sure. I've seen some of the results, and they are a straightforward way to shading. But to be honest, the shading technology from GW and other paint producers has improved so much since I saw those. I don't even know that that's really worth it. The best person to talk to about off the wall painting techniques is the man Moog, because I know he does a lot with grime effects and thinners and all sorts of things, which I would consider super crazy and off the wall. Which I am very much a done kind of person. Sarcastic Monkey, what is your pitch to make Eldar as an army sound interesting to someone who, in general, does not like anything elf-like? So sell Eldar. That's an interesting one. Because the things I would draw attention to, yes, Tim Jones again gifted 5 Say Hi Paul memberships. Thank you very much, sir. That's amazing. I think we're going to have to go for multiple lobsters. Thank you very much. That's very generous. And it looks like they've been picked up by 5 people.
They have.
Oops. Lobster tumble. What's the question I was asking? Oh, so Eldar. I think I would focus on the fact that they are a technologically superior race. They are trying to forestall death and the inevitable decline of their species whilst fighting ancient foes. I would probably lean more towards the aspects of the god of war rather than anything else, because I think that is a fairly unique aspect of the Eldar race and not intrinsically linked to their elvenness. I think the sort of the fading and dying probably kind of is, the ancientness is, the technology is possibly analogous with magic, but I think their technology and their ways of war and the aspects of Keelan Chicane, I think, are unique elements, and they are the least elf-like and often most interesting. And from someone who likes to get into the mindset of the units as they play them, I think they are I think they're interesting to make narrative decisions during games, because some of them are hot-headed, some of them are detached. Yeah. Oh, that's all the questions from Discord. Do we have any questions on the admin pad we haven't gone through?
No, because we've done them as we've
done them as we've gone along. Okay, I think we are heading towards wrap up then.
You could read the Sanguinary Guard one. Imagine being a species.
Imagine being a species who technically have the tools to save themselves from Slaanesh, but Slaanesh has one of the blades required. Yeah, that's because GW will not write out a faction. They've got factions who are antagonistic against each other, and they put narrative tools in there, but ultimately they're very unlikely to say, and this faction wiped out that faction. Hooray! All of you who play the wiped out faction, sorry. So I choose to believe that is a narrative that has the potential to happen in a world where they're just writing books and not selling games. Any others you want me to?
There's just that last one. There's a sarcastic monkey one.
Great. Now they sound fascinating. Necromancy constructs and the aspects of the big bad avatar. Damn. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the 40k races have got a lot of layers. Orcs, there is a layer to orc in genetic perfect species. Them from an evolutionary point of view and go into that aspect of their character and where it comes from and why they're driven the way they're driven and whether all that was intentional. The stuff you get in some of the books these days, in some of the codices these days, focus much more on superficially how the armies play and the big shiny side of things. Like I used to really like a lot of the description about the Space Marines organs, and they're also in one of the codices there was a day in the life of a Space Marine battle brother, and that's really fascinating as well. So you don't get so much of that these days, but every faction has got layers to peel back to find something really interesting behind why they do what they do and why they are the way they are. And I do very much like that about 40k, is all those layers. Like onions and ogres.
Orcs are great, but only with snake bites and squigs, says Sarcastic Monkey.
I like all flavours of orcs.
Space Marines have fascinating organs.
More at 10. Well, I think on that note, so my first thank you is to Crimson, as ever, for doing an amazing job.
You're very welcome.
What have we had in the way of...
Thank you for all the top tips, everyone. That's really kind. Super chats, we've had Travelling Tortoise a few times, Mick the Machine, Sarcastic Monkey many times over and over again. So fantastic. Thank you
all.
Thanks for the advice as well. Membership comments, we've had Big Bad Peter, Sarcastic Monkey, and Mick the Machine. 27 months, Mick the Machine. Wowzers.
Wow.
And obviously, as last week as well, Yestin Jones, thank you. 5 membership gifted to the people that took up those, are Andre, Fred the Live, I hope I'm saying that right, Bart Scheimer, Death Fest Night, and Liam Pittman all took up those memberships. So fantastic. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, Mick, did you read your message I sent you? Have you replied to my message? I just wondered.
So one thing Mick has shouted out is this time next week.
I've got that. Yeah, I've got that.
No,
No,
you do it. You do it.
No, you can do it. It's
you
fine.
do it.
No, Mick. Mick and Sarah are on the verge of being grandparents, so very soon that will have happened. So we're very excited about that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm sure there'll be pictures on Discord. I'm sure there'll be pictures of little bull-headed
I'm sure there'll be.
and also the baby as well.
I'm sure there'll be Space Marine onesies and baby grows and all sorts.
Yeah, so good luck, Mick, with all of that. Let us know as soon as possible. next generation of war gamers. Absolutely. Whether it's a girl or a boy. That's it. Good luck.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, everyone. You have been amazing company as always, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.